Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to the final session of today's Smart Energy Forum as part of the Finland Expo 2020 Dubai Pavilion programme. I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting this session. My name is Richard Thompson. I'm the editorial director of MEED, the Middle East Economic Digest, and I'm based here in Dubai. And we've been writing a lot about renewable energy in the Middle East over the past few years. And one of the most exciting emerging areas of renewables is waste to energy, converting waste into energy, waste material into energy, which means you don't need to send it to landfill. And so that is what we are going to be talking about over the next 40 minutes or so, and I'm delighted to be joined in this discussion by Ari Kokko, who is the Director of Technology and R&D at the Energy Business Unit of Valmet. Welcome, Ari. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Sorry?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you very well. It's great to have you. So just by way of preamble, so the conversation, waste to energy, we're talking about taking waste material and using it as fuel to generate energy. And of course, this prevents or limits landfill usage and also fossil fuels consumption. It sounds like a very simple thing, but of course it isn't. Like many of these things, there are many different types of waste material. Some of them are ideal for turning into energy, for fuel for energy. Some of them are less efficient, they don't burn quite so well, and others are really not suitable at all for various reasons. So over the next 40 minutes, Ari and I are going to talk about high efficiency waste to energy. How do you get the best value, the best bang for your buck from waste material in terms of energy production? And we're going to talk about technology, we're going to talk about process and planning, and we're going to talk about the best candidates for fuel. What are the best materials, waste materials that can be used for waste to energy? So a lot to get through. I do invite you to get involved in the conversation. Please send in your questions. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you will see there is a little icon that says questions. You can click on that and type in your questions for Ari, and we will throw them into the conversation. So do get involved. It's a very interesting and important topic. And I think it's going to be one that is going to grow in importance over the coming years. So this is your chance to get up to speed. So, Ari, welcome. Thank you. I hope I didn't misrepresent the topic in my opening words, but perhaps you could start off. Just tell us a little bit about Valmet, about yourself and about Valmet. Who are you and what is your sort of position in this high efficiency waste to energy sector?
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, Richard. So I was too eager to start already, too early. Okay. Good afternoon. Yeah, repeating a little bit, my name is Ari Kokko and I'm heading technology and R&D in Valmet Energy Business Unit. And I have been with Valmet now almost 32 years in a different kind of technology and business-related positions. And Valmet itself, the whole Valmet, it's a global technology company, technology provider, but also equipment supplier. We are roughly €4 billion company, having 14,000 employees. And then if looking at this energy business, our product portfolio includes fluidised boilers, CFBs, PFBs, gasification, and then also flue gas cleaning system for after our processes. And then we are happy to add also automation system because we have automation in-house and then of course services for process equipment. And then if looking a little bit to the past, we have been very long time in this boiler business and energy business. Our roots are somewhere in 150 years back. But don't need to go so far away, but we have been quite proactive in developing solutions for residual type of fuels. I mean, low cost fuels, and that is fitting very well this resource efficiency theme what the European Union is launching, and then so we have solutions to fire with the very high efficiency. Of course, the RDF, which is made of MSW. But then it is not limited to only those fuels. We can mix other fuels as well. And one fuel recently being very popular, at least in Europe, is construction wood, recycled wood. It's having a very high energy content. And then, of course, used car tires, and then this kind of, the residues coming from the refineries. I think that is matching very well in Emirates.
Tell you what, Ari, there's a lot of detail getting into these sectors, so we can get into the technology and the different fuels in just a moment. What I'd like to start by doing is perhaps exploring the sort of the higher level. So your company has been around for a very long time, very expert in technology solutions. And waste to energy has got this sort of niche position within the energy sector. Who are the main users of waste to energy? Is it in the Middle East? My sense is it's municipalities and city authorities. But you've mentioned just now industrial companies in your comments just now. But presumably there is also a domestic audience, for domestic use. So who do you see as the main users for waste to energy solutions?
Okay, like you said, it's both. Industrial. There are industrial customers, but the cement industry is very active. But then we don't have too many equipment for that. We are in a waste to energy, so we are firing and making steam and then power out of steam. So maybe I'm not the expert to answer all that, but of course the bigger projects and waste to energy projects, then first you have to find out who owns the fuel, and then it is quite often it is a municipality or waste management authorities, and then so. But I think it's also if we are focusing in a waste to energy, so why doing it? I think that's the first. I'm setting a question to myself.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Let's answer that. Why use waste to energy? It's not a simple solution. There's lots of different varieties and variants. So why are we talking about it?
Yeah, I think first of all, the waste is very valuable resource. It is don't waste because there is a lot of energy, and then to make power out of that. But secondly, what is the alternative? It's just landfilling, and landfilling is not good because it's releasing greenhouse gases. And then secondly, quite many are talking about the circular economy. I think that the whole globe is turning from linear economy to circular economy, and it means that keeping all the materials as long in a circulation as possible. But then, of course, there is always a certain amount of residues, and that is a good for combustion, and then first taking all the metals, glass, ferrous metals, non-ferrous metals, and recycling those, and then maybe crushing it, and after that we can take it into our system. We are talking about circulating fluidised technology and going to very, very high efficiency and producing much more electricity out of the same amount of waste. That is supporting very well these resource efficient targets. And then still one thing to add, many people are talking about that the combustion, the thermal power is going to disappear. No, it's not going to disappear. Of course, the meaning of that is going smaller when these solar and wind are taking more market, but there will be thermal power. It is needed as a backup, and then I think the principle will be that this kind of residue fuels are used for thermal power, and then the more valuable low carbon feedstocks are used to produce something more valuable, not used for firing and making energy.
So in my opening comments, I sort of loosely split waste into three. In terms of waste to energy, I split the waste into three areas. There's the waste that was high efficient, there was the waste that was kind of less efficient, and then there's waste that can't be used at all. I don't know if I've oversimplified it, but in terms of high efficiency, which is what we're talking about today, you talked just now about the separation. Is that the key? Is it about having sort of purifying the waste or separating the waste to make sure that you're getting the right stuff to get the maximum efficiency? Can you hear me? You froze just temporarily.
Somebody was frozen, or both. Okay, I thought I understood the question, and of course this pre-handling system for waste it's having a dual meaning. That of course it's kind of cleaning the fuel, but secondly it is recycling these valuable components like different kind of metals, so that you are not putting those to the boiler and just melting. That's not good. But yes, it is also making the quality better. Maybe we are sizing it to smaller pieces and then having very how to say the process conditions in the boiler and having low emissions and high efficiency.
So, and what are the sort of the fuels that just you can't use? Is it things that are toxic, where there might be chemicals or something that produce fumes or something?
No, okay. I think we are not talking about the hazardous waste, because the hazardous waste must be destroyed in a very dedicated places. But we are talking about municipal solid waste, and typically it's not containing nothing hazardous. But of course there are heavy metals and such things, and then the dioxin formation. But then we are taking care of the flue gases in the flue gas cleaning system, and we have the full set of equipment for that as well.
Okay. Now, before I ask Gary my next question, I'd just like to remind you in the audience, if you have questions, this is an important topic. If you have some questions, please use the questions icon at the bottom of the screen to send in your questions, and we will put them into the conversation. Ari, I'd like to move on to opportunities. Now, from what you said in your opening comment, it strikes me that there are clearly opportunities in energy-intensive industries. So you mentioned cement, for example, just now, where you've got high energy consumption. So this is a way of sort of being more efficient. And then I guess another opportunity is where there's high levels of waste. So, if people, municipalities might be one answer there. So where do you see, in terms of the industries and the potential beneficiaries of waste to energy, and particularly high efficiency waste to energy, where do you see the opportunities?
Okay, if you're talking about the waste itself, and starting from the easy part, talking about Europe, because I'm from Europe, but the Western Europe, the waste to energy market is kind of saturated. There is no place to build anything more, because there are more than enough waste firing plants. Old technology, old plants. The only thing what we can see is this some other residual fuels, like I mentioned, this construction wood, construction wood and RDF, and then the driver is this coal phase out. The small industrial and municipal customers, they have to change the fuel with some low carbon sources. So instead of burning coal, going to construction wood or this RDF. And then if looking largely this Europe, of course, Eastern Europe and Southern Europe, they have not solved this waste challenge yet. So there is a lot of landfilling, and we can see that is going to change soon. And then if looking a little bit outside of Europe, Japan, South Korea, and China, they have a long tradition in waste to energy, and we have been also involved there. And then as a very interesting detail is that we have managed to sell CFP boilers to Chinese customer in China.
That's amazing. You always hear about China selling, increasing sales outside of China. You've been selling into China.
Yes.
How have you been able to achieve that? Because I think a lot of people would like to know how you manage that.
No, the first customer, they had an experience of local vendors, several boilers with a very pure availability, and then they said that they are favoring now and then selecting our technology because the high efficiency, large unit size, and then of course the reliability. So they are not making any money if the boiler is not running. And then if talking something about this GCC, we see it's a very potential place to come with our technology as well, because the drivers are most likely quite much the same. Big unit sizes, need for electricity, so meaning that the high efficiency is a good criteria there, so that we are expecting a lot of that market.
Yeah, I'm interested in what your thoughts are on the GCC and the Middle East generally, because recently we've had in Sharjah, BIA, the waste to energy company, has launched the region's first waste to energy plant, taking municipal waste. Dubai has now embarked on a waste to energy plant, so too is Abu Dhabi. And Saudi Arabia has a huge renewables program, and I know that waste to energy is in there, although not detailed what those projects are. And Egypt, for example, is another market where they've explored this. So where do you see, in the Middle East and in the GCC, where do you see the opportunities? I mean, have you had conversations with possible customers?
Yes, we had, but of course, I can't mention anything.
No, of course not.
We have been very active in Emirates and Oman, and then visiting also in Saudi Arabia, so seeing that development and hoping it will push through.
And is your sense that in this part of the world that the waste opportunity is in municipal waste from the landfill sites, or is it the big industrial companies, the oil companies or something?
No, I believe that the customer. Okay, there are so many players. Maybe we need to discuss about those. What are the challenges? Who are the players in this game? And then, if looking first of all, developing this kind of project, it's a huge challenge. And then developing and financing. And then, of course, we are just the technology providers. We can't do it, and we need to find the team. And then in GCC countries, this kind of traditional way, so that the end customer is buying in packages, purchasing the EPC and then all the technical equipment.
Yeah.
And operation and maintenance packages. It is not working. It's more like this private-public partnership project, and then you need to find the developer, the real main leading developer who has access to financing and money. And then second big challenge in GCC countries is that the market is not developed yet, and then the market drivers like financial incentives, so that the feeding tariff for electricity or gate fee, it's not in place. So it can be different in every single project. And then, of course, always in a waste to energy project there are technical challenges. I mean, the fuel is not homogeneous. It's very heterogeneous. And then, so the quality is varying. Of course, the question, is there enough fuel also in the future? So that's a customer fuel risk. Okay, again, here our solution is good because we can provide a multi-fuel solution, so that you can add also some other fuels into the picture. And then again, talking about this GCC situation, there is no tradition. There is probably one waste to energy project going on. I'm not sure if it is completed, but there are no, somebody saying the project parameters are missing, so that you can't copy from the past, and that is also making things very slow to happen. And then final comment here is that putting this package together, find the money, it takes long time, and then also the project execution, it's very long projects. I would say these are the biggest challenges, and then it is not even clear who is the customer always, because quite often customers are selling the project so that the build.
Well, I think
transfer. Yes.
One of the challenges that I've observed in this region in the PP, you said PPP is the kind of one of the likely models. I think the defining the commercial frameworks, as you just said, who is the customer, defining that commercial framework, who's paying for what are the volumes, it is a challenge, isn't it, for all PPPs? But it sounds like in a new technology area like waste to energy, the challenge is multiplied. If I can we've had a couple of questions actually, Ari, that have been submitted. So I'd like to go to these audience questions just briefly. Now, the first one, I have a feeling this could be quite a long answer because I think there's no simple answer, but what is the overall efficiency of a waste to power plant? So we're talking here about high efficiency waste to energy. So I'm guessing that this answer is actually, it depends. But can you give us some sort of spectrum of efficiency ratings for different types of plant?
Sure. This is easy for me because when talking about the financing, I'm very thin ice, but talking about technology, it's much easier. And then, I have mentioned it that we are offering circulating fluidised bed technology for waste to energy, and then it is having a much higher efficiency, cycle efficiency, and the reason is that we can go to much higher steam parameters compared to crate firing, and still not having high temperature corrosion. So let's put in with the round numbers that maybe in a crate firing you can achieve 28% cycle efficiency in electricity production, and with the CFP you can go to roughly to 32%. So that there is a kind of 10% more electricity out of the same amount of waste.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you definitely. Very clear on that answer. I thought it was going to be a much more difficult to simplify. The second question that's come in is about Valmet, about your company. So you mentioned earlier that the technologies that you're involved in, particularly around boilers and some of the sort of advanced digital technologies. But the question here is about the separation of waste. So is Valmet involved in developing technologies for separating different kinds of waste from each other?
No, not really. We have partnerships with other companies, same partners, and then they have a very dedicated technology for that, and then so we are trusting on them. Of course, always when building a power plant, we are not manufacturing all the components by ourselves, so we are sub-supplying. We are executing big projects always, so that's a business as usual.
Okay, thank you. Now, thank you for the questions that have been submitted so far. Please keep them coming. It's an important topic, particularly out here in the Middle East. I'm curious, Ari, about what your expectations for Expo are. So you've mentioned already that you've had some conversations with potential customers in this region, in the GCC, and we're talking at a forum set up by the Finland Pavilion for Expo 2020 Dubai. So will you be at the pavilion, and what sort of conversations are you hoping to have, and what sort of people are you hoping to meet?
Okay, so we are not only trusting on this Expo, but Valmet is participating to Expo, but it's the whole Valmet, not only the energy business. But we are having customer contacts on regular basis, and we have our representative sitting in Dubai, and he has very good contacts to, of course, the Emirates customers, but also the surrounding countries. So we are following many leads.
Okay.
But please contact us if you have interesting cases.
Okay, and presumably there is a Valmet website, or they can come and meet you at the pavilion to follow up. We've had another question that has come in. I don't know if this is something you'll be able to answer or not, actually, but Are waste power plants using or planning to use carbon capture and storage?
I saw the question. Yeah, that is something very new. And then I know that in many places there is a lot of interest, but I have not seen any, the real projects going on yet. But Valmet CCS is basing on oxycombustion, so that's one option. So that is also, the end result is pure carbon dioxide coming out from the stack, but we need to use oxygen for that. Then of course the other technology is these post-combustion scrubbers. We don't have that in our portfolio, but we are now, let's say, more or less looking what is happening, because one very unsolved challenge is that where to put the CO2, so that nobody wants to have it in a backyard, I believe. Of course, if there are oil wells available, then it's quite natural place for that. But generally speaking, globally, that's the biggest challenge, where to put it.
Okay, if you, I apologize for my sort of lack of scientific knowledge here, but if something has a lower efficiency in terms of converting the waste into energy, does that mean it produces higher levels of carbon dioxide?
Yeah, of course, lower is the electricity, the efficiency, more you are getting CO2. You are needing more fuel to make the same amount of electricity.
Okay, so there is, in terms of carbon dioxide output, that's focusing on higher efficiency waste is what we should be doing.
Sure.
Okay.
But maybe I have to add for this CCS question. Of course, we have the technology, but it is, we don't believe it is not here yet, because of course it's lowering this electric efficiency. It's very energy consuming way to take the CO2 out of the gas, and then 25% of the produced energy is going for this CCS.
Yeah. Okay, and now your job title, you are the Director of Technology, but also R&D, and I'm interested in that R&D part of your job title, because I know that out here you have organizations like Masdar in Abu Dhabi, who are very keen to explore clean technology, and both Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, they want to be leading players in the future energy story. And so Masdar in Abu Dhabi, but also Aquapower in Saudi Arabia, these companies are looking at clean technology. Where are the exciting areas of research, do you think, in waste to energy? And where do you see the potential direction of the market going?
I believe that on top of this waste to energy, so that the combustion of the waste, there will be technologies, advanced gasification technologies in order to make some traffic fuel or chemicals out of that. That I can see promising, but it's not here yet. So, but it will come in the next 5 years, I believe. Okay,
and in terms of key players and actors. Now, you mentioned cement near the start of your comments. I know that I think it was Lafarge Cement in Egypt had a project years back where they were collecting municipal waste and using some of that, I think particularly tires, for fueling their cement plants. Do you see specific industrial companies, say cement companies or maybe oil companies, as being key actors in adopting and developing waste to energy?
Okay, it's two different things. The cement companies, they are using directly the waste, in this cement production. And we are more in waste to energy, so the firing side. And then, of course, I can see that this waste to energy, the customers are utility companies or municipal energy companies, so using the electricity. But then of course, these cement companies, they are competing of the same fuel. So that these are the two parallel paths.
Right. Okay, so there has to be a degree of coordination. Now, as we come towards the end of this conversation, I know that I've just been able to sort of touch the tip of the iceberg, but are there sort of things, what would you like to see happening? And I guess I'm asking from a Middle East perspective, but how would you like to see this market evolving, and where do you think there are development opportunities for this?
For sure, it's like I said in the beginning, this is very valuable source of energy, so why not using? And we have seen that the waste in GCC countries, it's a very, how to say, high quality. There's a lot of plastic and paper, so the calorific value is good. So easy to make energy, but then again, the difficulty is to have who owns the fuel. So that's the question number one, and then you need to have access to the fuel for a long time, and then second one, you need to have a power purchase agreement so that you to sell the electricity out, and then there are many kind of customers, but I think usually the game goes so that somebody owns the fuel, and then sometimes also who is using the power is the same company, but in how to say, the more difficult case, those can be the two different companies, and then we are needing again this leading developer who is collecting the packets, having all the EPC company and technology companies and O&M, and that's why it takes so long time to develop these projects in GCC. But I'm hoping that more there are coming opportunities, more everybody is learning, and then hopefully we can be involved in that process as well.
I mean, certainly in this part of the world, there's a huge use of landfill sites, which is unsustainable, and the governments the authorities want to address this. It is quite interesting that because it's an emerging sector, this notion of the regulatory framework for who owns the fuel, how the contracts are managed, the commercial frameworks aren't mature yet. We're just at the beginning, and then you've already talked about the technology opportunities as well. So we're definitely at very early stages. Is there an opportunity for organisations such as your own to come together with some of your partner companies to produce a kind of off-the-shelf product, and you come, so you and your partner companies, you come to whichever government or whichever client and say, look, we've got a model. What do you think?
We've been knocking on many doors in that area, but
in the Middle East or around the world?
GCC countries, because this PPP approach is there. So. And we are the smallest player in the whole game, and then it is making it a little bit challenging. But yes, we have had a very good discussions with the developers. I mean, this kind of leading developers, and
you think there is an appetite and there is an interest. It's just that there's a lot of barriers to be overcome.
Absolutely, yes, right.
Well, Ari Kokko, Director of Technology and R&D at Valmet, thank you very much for your time and for your insights. I think, from what you've just said, this is a very important story, and I think that the Middle East has got a lot of potential to gain here, and I hope that you are able to, get the opportunity from Expo to really sort of develop those networks and those contacts, and I look forward to speaking with you in person in Expo when eventually we can all travel again. So thank you for your time, Ari, and take care. See you soon.
Thank you. See you next year.
Thank you.